Okay, everyone, I really can. I actually am sitting here feeling a little sheepish because I cannot, for the life of me, remember why I told you to bring marbles. And I've been saying to Charmaine all afternoon, I'm getting a little agitated, you know. I'm going to feel really stupid if people have come with their marbles and I have no idea what we're going to do with them. And Charmaine is like, oh, but you know when you sit down, they'll tell you what to do with them. And you don't have to agitate about this, blah, blah, blah. And I was going, but you do not know spirit. Because they get to play these fearsome games, or, you know, they go AWOL from time to time. And then I'll be sitting there saying, have you got your marbles? And then we don't know what to do with them. I still don't know what to do with them. Why do we have marbles? Forget about the marbles. Okay. So I'm going to forget about the marbles for a moment. What are we talking about today? Okay. So, what we're talking about today is being creative, right? So one of the things, forget about the marbles, just forget about the marbles for a moment. One of the things that's happened in the past week when I have been fighting with stuff and talking to people about how we live these inside-out lives, where we all go to work for a living while we're busy paying other people to live our lives. You know, our maids spend more time in our houses than we do. So, during these discussions, I actually made a conscious choice that I have to use what I have. And if I still have no use for it, then I must send it someplace where it can be of use. With the understanding that if I have invested my money in buying that, and it is sitting there doing nothing, being of no use whatsoever, it's not pleasing my eye, it's not serving somebody, it's not in any sense of the word adding value to life, my life or the lives of others, then it must go someplace where it can actually do that. So in other words, I must let my energy go into a space where it can serve a purpose, even if it's sitting there and doing nothing other than looking good for those people. Even if it's going there and doing nothing other than leaving them feeling good because they received something. That's the whole thing about using things. So I then got manic in my creative endeavors, and then you all saw the results of that. But what I'm discovering as I'm using things is that feeling of little hooks, like Gulliver being set free. Little bits and pieces of me are getting unhooked. I'm loosening up inside. And then in the midst of all of this, my brain started agitating as usual. And I have to tell you, it's a whole new level of agitation. It's no longer agitating about the stupid stuff. It's agitating about big stuff now. So I can't even say to my brain, don't sweat the small stuff. Because now it's hammering in a different way, as if my biggest critic has reawakened inside out. Now I remember when I used to be my biggest critic, I was the worst of them all, the perfectionist lot, etc., overly idealistic. And that biggest critic has reawakened at a whole other level. So I started doing something really tedious, which was cutting foam into chips of foam in order to drive my brain utterly batty. And it worked. It was so tedious. It was so boring. My brain just was agitating and agitating and agitating until it finally got to the crux of the matter, which was, I am too important for this. Literally. My brain was saying, it was too important for this. I thought, oh, really? Johnny come lately is too important for this. I'm doing this and you're too important for this. So no, you can't be that important. You can't be more important than me. So that little fight with my brain is happily ongoing. And now I'm not leaving it in the toilet or anything. I am making it very much a part of everything because I'm using it. I'm using it to bear witness. I'm using it to observe. I'm using it to be mindful. It has got to be part of the team. And that's been an ongoing process for years now. And last week in meditation when we were talking about the fact that very often the brain passes out quietly, and there are some people in this meditation group who consciously use my meditations as a chill pill to go to sleep. So the brain passes out while I get in that zone, that soul zone, and I feel really good about having this experience, but I, the brain, mental capacity, mental mind self, and I, the consciousness, the soul self, are actually quite divorced about this. In this sort of new age era, this brain, for some people, not everybody, for some people, has an understanding that, oh, that's you time. You go ahead. You know, like a good husband or a good wife. Yeah, you have your night out with the boys. You have a night out with yourself. Yes, that's your time out. Have fun. But the minute you come back here, I'm in charge again. Sounds familiar? Yeah. And it's a game that people are playing in their heads all the time, which is one of the reasons people purport to be spiritual as opposed to being spiritual, and why it's so hard to break through those barriers. And I have to tell you, regardless of what level of conscious meditation I get into, and all of my meditations are very conscious, this brain is still something I have to manage. I have to include, very consciously including things. So when I look at the way we do meditations here, now, because you're a group and because we're on WebEx, I'm a bit limited in terms of doing silent meditations, where you go deeper and deeper and deeper in such a way that your subconscious mind can spit all sorts of crap up at you and you can go, whoa, that's not really going on inside of me. It's like my brain has worms and it's eating away at my consciousness. No, please fix that image in your head now. Your brain is behaving like it's got worms and it's eating away at your consciousness. Yeah? Which is why people lose their marbles. Now, all of you have come to class and you presumably have got your marbles. Right? Marushan's got more marbles than most. Lou has got bigger marbles than most. You've only got blue marbles. Yeah? See the variety already. But everybody's got their marbles, except Maris. Maris doesn't even have marbles.
My marbles are gone.
She's lost them and she's not found a new set at all. Yeah? Charmaine had my marbles. She found my marbles. You see? Now this is what I mean about consciousness. If we can't start having fun with this and bringing our brain into the game in such a way that it doesn't just feel important, but that it knows it is an essential part of the process. Because your brain is the way all of the information, not the energy transmission, be very clear about this, but the information of these discussions, the information of the meditation itself, actually filters through into your consciousness and becomes part of your mindfulness or awareness or experiencing of yourself in your daily life. So this information is one thing, and I've had to consciously separate the two, and the energy transmission is another. The souls who come to meditation are happily partying with the energy transmission. The brains are going to sleep. They're not tuning into the different levels of the meditation. And because they are voice-guided meditation, this brain is getting to dismiss it as something not necessary for it. But the bottom line is everybody comes to meditation to train their brain. Isn't that so? Okay. Now you've struggled with this one, right? Yeah, everybody struggles with this one in different levels again. Because the brain still thinks it is too important to shut up and be part of everything else that's going on. Which is why we associate the brain with the ego. It's the ego personality self that's saying, I'm too important for this. I'm too important for any teamwork. I'm too important to just participate. And if I do, then I'm doing everybody a favor and letting it happen, you know, but really I'm in charge the whole way. Now we know those narcissistic sorts of people in our lives and we don't really like them very much. And right now everybody's brain is being exceptionally narcissistic. All that embedded stuff that was supposed to be coming to the fore, what did the brain do with it? Go on, come, tell the truth. Say again?
Pushed it back down.
Yeah, it just like went in, not important. let's not deal with that today. We'll get to it tomorrow. Because the brain is the biggest procrastinator ever. It is the one that wants to avoid all of the confrontations. The brain says that it is keeping the peace, but really what it's doing is controlling your consciousness, controlling your capacity for growth and development and just becoming. Why? Because if you take charge, what is your brain going to be relegated to doing and being? All that involuntary stuff, for which it will get no acknowledgement. Because all the brains are doing the same thing. They're all breathing. No? Yeah. No acknowledgement, no special gift, no uniqueness, no talent. So this poor brain is going to get relegated to tedious, dull stuff. Nobody's paying attention. You do not get up every morning and go, brain, thank you, God, that you know how to breathe without my giving you an instruction. So while you're busy taking your brain for granted, your brain has to work really hard to make sure that it gets some kind of acknowledgement, and therefore it drives the ego personality self into getting that from the world all the time. So let us use your brain in today's meditation, and let us get it involved. Haul out your marbles. Marbles! We're going to use it. Haul out your marbles. Let's see, what are we doing with them?
The big ones.
Anyone you like. It's your marbles. You are going to be fingering them. Making big noise. Recording big noise with marbles. Okay, so everybody got marbles. Do I need marbles? No, I don't need marbles. They're so pretty. I got pretty blue ones. Take a good look at them. Does everybody have at least 20 marbles?
20?
At least 20.
Yeah.
I've got exactly 20.
Exactly 20. Okay. So do you remember as a child playing? Does everybody remember as a child playing with marbles?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the experiences associated with playing with marbles? Because nobody played marbles alone in the old days.
You wanted to win.
Yeah, but first thing was nobody played alone. Right? Who played marbles alone? There was no fun. You went to play marbles so that, as you said, Charmaine said, you played to win, and you wanted to win everybody else's marbles. Especially if they had expensive china ones instead of like the cheap glass ones. You remember that? You didn't play marbles like that.
I used to watch them play marbles, and then I used to play by myself to practice. It was the boys or a generation above me that played marbles.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
I
Also
played
watched,
with my
yeah.
brothers and like watched them.
I played most marbles at home now when I'm tired of it. Grab the time to see how straight the tiles will lay.
They're really losing it.
Yeah.
It goes like
Okay, here's the thing. I played marbles as a child. In fact, I wrote a whole article on how I learned some serious life lessons, spiritual laws, which I completely forgot I wrote, just by playing marbles. Firstly, marbles is not a game that you play by yourself. It is a game that you play in a group of people, whether or not you're competing with them. Sometimes you play as a team. Sometimes you play one-on-one, you know, like a league match where you have to be better than everybody else. But as a girl, playing marbles with all of the boys, I mean, I really had to learn very quickly because I didn't like playing dolls with the girls. I found that to be very tedious and boring. I could not understand these people pouring water into teacups and pretending to drink lovely tea and eat non-existent biscuits. It was just all too airy-fairy and unreal for me. So I used to go and play with the boys. And my very first understanding of that was that I couldn't bear anything that smacked of stupidity. For me it was stupid to play this game and drink water and pretend that you were drinking tea when your mother was making tea in the kitchen. Go get the tea. You know, make it real. Make it real as far as possible. Also, you're pretending to feed these dolls, and they were talking back in squeaky voices, and they were nothing like the voices in my head. And so I dumped this whole girly thing. Also, you had to wear a dress to play at dolls, and I didn't own those. And I didn't own dolls. So that kind of put me out of the running. I had dolls, but I just not play ones. I had dolls from all over the country in a cabinet that looked very nice. Anyway, they were not play dolls, and they were certainly not dolls who drank tea. So that kind of put me out of the running. So I did what I did best. I went to play with the boys. And boys, gender bias now, don't play with girls unless there's something in it for them. So I had to have really, really nice marbles that they would want to win in order to let me play. This is called incentive. Motivation. You always have to have something somebody wants for them to work at the relating, for them to create inclusion, especially if it's a closed group, who can be very exclusive, right? And then, of course, when I started beating them, because I was really good at marbles, and you would be if you had a voice in your head saying, move slightly left. I wasn't aware that I was cheating at the time, but I was very good at it, and I would win all the time. And then nobody wants to lose all the time. So the boys all stopped playing marbles with me. They stopped talking to me. They stopped walking me home from school and letting me carry all of their bags. They just stopped talking to me, and I was very upset about this. They even stopped pulling my plaits, which was cute. Annoying, but cute. So I had to get advice. I didn't know why they stopped playing with me, why they weren't calling me when they were going to play marbles, etc. So when in doubt, and you don't know, you must ask the right questions. And of course you have to ask somebody who would be in the know. Couldn't ask the boys because they weren't talking to me. So I had to ask somebody else who would know, and the local owner of the tea room was my wise voice out of the universe. So I asked Paipu, and Paipu said, they don't want to play with you because you win all the time. And he said something very important to me. He said, nobody wants to lose all the time. They don't mind your winning. They mind losing. So now when you're not playing, they have an opportunity to win. Having the opportunity to win is enough to get someone in the game. So I had to learn how to lose. It was very hard work. My competitive edge could not take that one lying down. I was depressed. I was severely depressed about having to lose, and to the boys, moreover, who were so delighted and made the mistake of gloating because they were suddenly winning. And I remember asking Paipu, why don't they think it's strange that they are suddenly winning? And he said, because people see what they want to see. They will believe what they want to believe. Whatever makes them feel better. So I thought, this is not working for me. I want my marbles back. I had lost all of my best marbles in order to get in the game again. So I brought my competitive spirit right back and won all of my marbles back. And this time when the boys tried to stop talking to me, I let rip. I threw a tantrum of note about how they were all little cowards who didn't have nicer marbles than me, and they could all go to hell because I was never bringing my marbles around for them to play with ever again. And I had the boys lining up on my door asking me to come and play. Supply and demand. Simple. Yeah. The mere fact that I was confronting their complaints, and I was willing to say, okay, if you don't know how to play this game and you don't know how to step up and accept the challenge, well then you wallow in it. I am taking my marbles out the game, and I will play with other people who can actually try to win and not lie down and play dead. Besides, by then they didn't have really nice marbles that I wanted, so I was happy to get out the game. But one of the most important lessons I learned out of playing marbles was how to lose. And most people don't like to lose. We live in a world where time is money. We live in a world where everybody wants to be successful. We live in a world where failure is the most horrible thing you can do. And yet, if you look at some of the most successful people on the planet, they are all successful because they have failed. Nobody sets out to lose. And in fact, we've been taught that from a positive thinking perspective, if you so much as accept the possibility of loss, then you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for loss. And yet life experience teaches us, because we have ego personality and a brain that thinks it's in control and knows everything and is always right, life experience has taught us that until we have lost, we haven't learned. That we learn from our losses, that we grow from our losses. And it doesn't matter whether you're losing something on the physical plane or whether you're losing something on the spiritual plane. So all the way from money to faith in God, we have a spectrum of losses that are possible to us. There's only one thing that you cannot lose, that you absolutely cannot lose, ever. And that's either soul. Everything else that you think you own, that you think you know, can be lost. But either soul is never lost. I got up the other morning and I said to the Lord husband, everybody in the universe is ogling you. I don't like this. You know, all these people are looking at you like you are theirs. They're all ogling my husband. I don't like this. Suddenly a possessive streak. And his response was like mind-boggling for me, because it got me to drill down into myself and feel a few things. He said, I see only you. And when you look at me, you should see only me. Then there's nobody else. There's nothing else. And you know, I got stuck on that one for a minute, because I was like, what do you mean you see only me? And it's like, I see you. Not your context, not your circumstance, not your environment, not your name, not your game. I see you as you are. The one thing that you are forever and ever to all eternity until you are at one with me again is I the soul. I see that. So I don't see all this other stuff. I don't know why you're complaining out with your brain. I can't even see it. I'm thinking, really? It's like such a busy thing and you can't see it? What are you looking at? You. I am looking at you. And then simultaneously, because he says I must see him in everything, and I must see only him, dear God, I'm going to miss all of your busy brains in the process. And I thought, okay, I have to lose sight. Literally, I have to lose sight of all of that in order to see only you. I have to have inner sight in order to see only you in all of that other stuff. So this whole discussion and all of the spiritual laws and all of the crippling doubt of the brain and all of the I'm so important games of the brain all came together, and I invited Japi for tea. I know, non sequitur of note. Yeah? But I did it consciously because I know I'm in a space where I'm healing my relationships. Everything that I am leaving behind will experience a sense of loss, and so I'm healing the relationships and there will be no loss. Because you know that Facebook status I put up where people don't know how to leave lovingly. Yeah, they don't know how to fuck off nicely. Yeah, what's with that? Everybody has to get angry, make a mess, make a drama, angst, story, and then they leave. And you're thinking, ugh, I used to do that as well. So now I'm going, I'm leaving lovingly. I'm leaving so wholesomely that when I'm gone, you won't even know that there is a hole there. It will seal up quickly. It will be full. There will be no hole. So I'm not leaving gaps and holes behind. So when I did this, my big thing was that actually I had lost nothing. That this perception of losing things is nothing more than that. It's a perception. I looked at this man and I thought, I've lost nothing. Of course, there were all those marvelous things about forgiveness, etc., that came with it. But really, I have lost nothing. And this is not a comment on Japi, because he's absolutely fabulous and I love him to bits. You know, he's just lovely. This is a comment on perception, on what's going on inside. We look at something, and because of our attachment to it and because of where it fits in our brain's plans for ourselves, not the soul's plan for self, but the brain's plan for self, we go, that is lost. And it's not. You've never ever lost anything. All of those people sing hallelujah are still somewhere. They're there. They're just not within your brain's scope of fantasy. That's it. And of course, in the perception of losing something, we don't see what we've gained, what we've become, what new possibilities have opened up. I thankfully know the full spectrum of that, so I could be quite gracious about being forgiving and serve up coffee instead of tea, and lunch instead of tea. I can be abundant like that. But inside, it takes a while for most people to get to a point where they stop abusing themselves over what is lost and recognize what is gained. And then it takes even longer to get past that game of loss and gain in order to recognize that the universe is simply is. That balance is there all the time. That this perception of something being given to you and taken away from you is a duality game. That this game of losing and winning is just a duality illusion again. So, just take a look at your marbles for a moment and just like really pay attention to them, right? And just for each of you, I want you to think quietly. Yeah, you can feel them up. Feel them up. Yeah. Do you have cheap glass ones? Do you have lovely pearlescent ones? Do you have good quality marbles, blown glass ones? Yeah. Mine are very beautiful, aren't they? They're like third eye marbles. They're that third eye blue. Yeah.
I was fascinated when I was a child, just looking at the little patterns inside.
That inside, yeah.
Now, if you look at them, some people do have patterns. If you don't have one with a pattern, feel free to borrow one. But here's the thing. If you just pick one marble up and you hold it up, there's a whole world in the palm of your hands. Yeah? As an exercise, and today's meditation is specifically this. It's about exercises for your brain. Because we have to get your brain interactively involved in your meditating. And one of the key ways that your brain gets involved in meditating in this center is through visualization. Yeah? So these are visualization exercises, association exercises. Now, if you pick up one of your marbles and you look at it, what is the first symbolic thought that comes to mind? What is the brain's association with that marble? Don't anybody say balls. Put your stuff on here, please, people. Let me hear you. Oh, that's a pretty one.
The colors in the middle.
The colors in the middle. What is the association your brain is making of so that this marble symbolizes or represents something for you?
Like an eye.
Yeah, it does look like an eye.
For you, it's an eye. Okay. Farah?
For me, it's a memory. A memory.
It's a memory. Excellent.
A memory as well.
A memory. Yours was an eye, Maris. Anis? Devyani?
It's like balance. This, these lines are just like all in balance. They're not like haywire everywhere.
Hey, mine are haywire.
No, look at mine.
Abstract.
Good.
Yours are balance. Okay. Shaman?
I'm just seeing lights, so it's
Light.
lights.
Okay. Anis? Fatima? Terika? What do you associate whatever's going on in your marble with first?
The reflection, like the light also.
Light as well? Fati?
I didn't manage to find any marbles, but if I think of it, I think it's like a tiny world.
Okay, that's a good one. Fatima's off still. Okay. Now, if you stop for a moment and consider, what can this marble represent in the physical world? In the physical world, you can actually hold it in the palm of your hand and feel like you are holding the earth itself. Yeah? If you got a bright yellow one, it could be the sun. Pretty silvery one, it could be the moon. Yeah? But this is exactly the 360 degrees that we talk about all the time. In terms of every one of us is a circle or a cycle. This is the earth in the palm of your hands. Nothing else. Where are you in the marble? Insignificant spot that you are?
Outside.
Eh?
We outside it.
No. If this is the entire cosmos, any planet, whatever it is, I am the center of my universe. So where are you in the marble?
The center inside.
Yes, and I can't even see you because you're like deep down in the center. Who can see you there?
God.
Yeah. Doesn't matter whether your marble's clear or not. The rest of us, look at all of the marbles in your lap or all of the marbles in your palm. See all those universes in your hand. How many universes can you manage to fit in the palm of your hand?
20.
Oh, 20. Okay, so simple visualization exercises for your marbles, right? Every one of these marbles, and I asked specifically for 20 because we know that we have a 22 chakra system that takes us from our incarnated state on the earth plane to source, right? Okay. The 22 chakra system, we've done that here before. We've worked with it often. Charmaine loves this particular meditation. Now, all 20 marbles that you have got represent the mobile chakras of your incarnated being. The other two chakras, the earth star chakra and the heavenly chakras, are there all the time, regardless of whether you are incarnated or not, in terms of anchoring you to the earth plane, right? When you die, those 20 marbles or chakras are the ones that you operate with in the afterlife. And since you are all busy dying, best you take a look at the state of your marbles. You can't lose these marbles. Okay. Even if you work with just 8, yeah? Now I know when I say close your eyes and let's visualize these chakras, everybody goes into the feeling of it. You do. But imagine, take 2 marbles now. Okay. When I talk about your chakras back and front, yeah? Here's the chakra in the middle, back and front. And it's very difficult for people to get that. Okay, let me stop teasing you. Everyone has the capacity to visualize to a certain extent, right? However your marble looks to you now, whatever it looks like, I want you to picture it as clearly as possible, see it as clearly as possible, and then close your eyes and picture it in your mind's eye. Your third eye is not your mind's eye. Your capacity to visualize is your mind's eye. So whatever marble you have in your hand, I want you to close your eyes and picture it and be completely ruthlessly honest about whether you're seeing a spot of light, whether you're seeing dark, whether you're getting an actual image. What is going on when I say you've just looked at your marble, close your eyes and see it in your mind's eye? Can you see the marble exactly as it is? with the light shining through it?
How to create it.
Yeah?
That's a busy process to create it.
Yeah? This is good. This is exactly what I'm expecting, because I also have to create it. Yeah? For the brain to visualize what you've got in the palm of your hand accurately, you have to create it. If I say close your eyes, see a blackboard and put a white X on it, you have to create it. That's why this meditation is about being creative, right? That's where we started. Now, this consciousness, left brain and right brain, have to work together to create what you just saw. Because your short-term memory registers it. For you to escalate it from there into imagination takes work. And what is the brain doing while you are doing this work? It's going, what for? That's not important. What for? Huh? And the more real you make something for the brain, the less likely it is to fight about it. Yeah? So when I say to you, lie down quietly and imagine that all of your chakras are getting aligned. Clear intention, all of your chakras are getting aligned. They're awakening, they're opening up, more receptive. What is your brain doing? Yeah. Okay. Of course. And soul takes over, but the brain is not registering that its work is to process everything that comes through in your energy body as well as your mind. Because all of the communication available from your energy system, all 12 bodies, all 308 chakras, is more informative and inspirational than what's filtering through your mind. So, all of these marbles are a physical way of working with your chakras. So if you put all of the marbles in the palm of your hands, if you can find them, unlike me, I cannot find a hole in my auric field.
How did you get the one out?
Obviously I have to tear a hole in my auric field to get a hold of my chakras.
So you put all 20 now.
Yes. So if you have 20 marbles in your hand, right? Tarika, I want you to imagine that you have 20 marbles in your hand. Your imagination should have no difficulty imagining. All 20 marbles. Now these are the 20 chakras that go from base all the way through to source.
It's big.
Posting one is big marbles.
Lou's got overdeveloped chakras. Okay. Now, all 20 marbles in the palm of your hands, right? Now, you don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to do anything. Instruct your brain that these are your chakras. These are the chakras that I am healing every day when I set a clear intention. Right? I want my brain to register. These little marbles represent my chakras. Have you got one there that represents your nose? Respiratory system? Okay. Although we're working with the primary chakras, any marble can represent any one of your organs. This is a multi-dimensional system. Literally, we're going to take your energetic system and put it in the palm of your hands. And marbles are the best things to work with because they do roll around and they're difficult to manage. You know, they like skitter out of control. So your brain has to get focused, right? Your entire energy system, 22 chakras, 12 bodies, only 12 marbles, independent chakra on its own, one marble. The entire planet is one marble. Several cosmoses, because many marbles as you like. But now I want you to check, what is your brain doing when you are working on an actual thing in the palm of your hands, as opposed to something that you are just visualizing? So here's my brain. I'm saying to my brain, these are my chakras, all 20 of them. and I'm going to infuse them with energy so that they are all aligned and active. Right? Okay. So, can you hold all of your marbles in one hand, or? Okay. You can put it on a plate as well. You can serve yourself up on a silver platter. And let's see, what have we got? Try it. Let's infuse your... And tell me what your brain is doing.
What's next?
Yeah, what is the brain doing?
Turning marbles, what you want me to do?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you see, now it's not having to use imagination. It can't slide into oblivion. It's got to stay present. And what is it doing? Is it fighting with you? Mine isn't fighting.
It's just curious.
Yeah, but let's feel.
But the marbles are so heavy.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Very, and it's so hot.
Let's see if you are going to get energy infusion. How's the energy infusion going? Let's feel for the energy infusion. Come, I want you to feel how your palms and how the marbles themselves respond, regardless of your brain. When your eyes are open, your brain is engaged. What's going on? Your brain can be fighting. What is your soul doing? Hello? What is the soul doing while the brain is yang around?
Carrying out the instruction.
Yeah. So whether your eyes are open or not, right? Your brain can be looking at this going, chakras, really? It can have the whole thing, but the energy infusion is going to happen anyway, exactly as it did in a meditation. Yeah. Now what do we need to do with your brain? We needed to get a little respectful of what's going on while it's not paying attention. So we needed to pay attention, right? So now you go back to your brain and you go, chakras. These are my chakras. These are our chakras. This is you as consciousness. And you create a direct connection between what your brain can see and feel and touch and throw and manipulate to its heart's content and lose, obviously. It's about giving your brain an interaction with something that it can presume control over, while in actual fact, where is the management of the healing coming from?
From the soul.
Soul. Yeah. Simple. But your brain isn't fighting it because here's its control, here's its management. It can check this out, and all the while it's doing that, the energy in your palm chakras are flowing. Yeah? What are your chakras doing?
Getting balanced.
They're responding to the instruction because they're not like the brain. Unlike your brain, the chakras do not need to be important or more important than everything else. Nobody's third eye chakra is going, oh, I'm more important than the heart center. Yeah. This is too tedious for me. I can't get grounded. Yeah. Chakras don't do that. They don't have ego. They are consciousness. So they respond to your intention. They respond to everything that is spiritually aligned for your highest good. Your brain, on the other hand, doesn't. So, if you picked one of those marbles and said, This is my brain. Find the smallest one ever. Insult your brain. Smallest, stupidest one you can find and go, that's my brain. Ooh. What happened?
They're all the same size.
They're all the same size. There's nothing smaller.
No.
Okay. So, oh, you found a pretty one there. We must swap later, right? So, look at this marble now, and you tell your brain, this is you. This is you. Small. In the size of the rest of the body, how big is the brain by comparison to the rest of the body?
2%.
Is it?
No, it's big.
Yeah. If you unravel the brain and all of its grey matter and all of that stuff that's like squashed together, you get at least a third of your body weight is your brain. Did you know that?
Can't be.
Well, the rest of your body weight you put down to water, but we're talking physical, actual physical stuff is your
In
brain.
yoga, you see how heavy your head is. You know that.
He does yoga.
Yeah.
But Google it, right? Google it in terms of how heavy is your brain. How much stuff, physical stuff, makes up your brain. And yet it can be reduced to absolutely nothing in seconds. Yeah. Now this is one of the reasons your brain knows it's so important. Because without it, you die. It does all that involuntary stuff that you don't even know is going on inside. So it is important, and we need to treat it like it's important. We need to make it part of the program. But it's heavy. And you know, if he's heavy, he ain't my brother, right? Yeah. So we got to lighten this brain up a little. You actually have to infuse your brain with light. Because inside this brain and all of the convoluted bits and pieces that you cannot see from the outside, you know, all of the, when they divide the brain, they show you what each part of the brain is for, and then they don't pierce right down to the heart of it. Because most people don't actually know what the rest of the stuff is for. If we're only using 6% of our brain and that's the part that's defined, what are we doing with the other 94% of it? The other 94% is now all yours. Now think about this. If 6% of your brain, only 6% of your brain, is engaged with your survival on the physical plane, what is the other 94% of your brain doing?
It's probably using it for all the other lives that you can live.
No, your brain doesn't know about other lives.
It's just amazing.
Your energy system knows about other lives, but your brain doesn't. Yeah. That part of your brain, even if it's 80%, that's doing nothing, is now available to be all yours. So you need to court it. You need to woo it into being on your side, into working with you, into being a feeling, intuitive brain, as opposed to a thinking, know-it-all brain. And just when you think I've wasted all of your time in insisting you must get marbles, where are the chakras in your brain? So far, these marbles are the 22 chakras that take you from here to source. They are all of the primary chakras just here, so you can line them up and do healing on them, infuse them with energy by engaging your brain with it. But more importantly, one marble that says, this is my brain. And then from that marble, we have at least 5 other important ones. Not the unimportant ones, but important ones for healing your brain and infusing it. Right? So now, oh God, we don't have lap trays and all of that. Okay.
So get some plates.
No, it's fine. Everybody's unprepared everywhere. So let's put your brain in the palm of your hand. And from there, moving downward, because the frequency of individual chakras, get this one, the frequency of individual chakras as they are located in the brain, is higher than the frequency of your physical brain. Okay. So the frequency of the physical brain, right at the bottom, and then moving upward. Right? The very first chakra, pick one for yourself. Where do you know the chakra of your brain is? Let's work as naturally as possible. Third eye. Excellent. Everybody knows the third eye. High frequency. Next one?
Yeah.
Crown. Okay. Did we miss any in between?
The fourth eye and the fifth eye, which
The fourth eye and the fifth eye. So before we go to crown, fourth eye and fifth eye. So third, fourth and fifth eye chakras, and then your crown.
So fourth eye and fifth eye is where?
One just above the third eye and one right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's here?
Oh, sorry, darling. Third eye, center of the brow. Fourth eye chakra just above that. And then fifth eye chakra is where your hair meets your hairline. Straight up from the third eye. Yes.
So all on your forehead. Where you put the chandlo in the middle and on the top.
Chandlo. Alright. Okay, next one. Zeal chakra, back of the head. Here in the dent. You know where your head dents in?
Yeah.
That's your zeal chakra. It's the chakra that holds all of the trauma of any lifetime. How many marbles have we got?
6.
6. Did we forget anything?
What about the one in the center, in the middle? No, in between there. I don't know if it's a chakra.
the zeal, that was the
The zeal.
back.
Yeah.
No, that's the back. No,
Yeah.
they have the zeal. You're talking about chakras inside the brain.
Brain.
Now, those are there, but we're talking about the primary ones that we've worked with before, right? In terms of healing. Okay. What we haven't got is the hypothalamus gland, which is a chakra point here. It is above this fifth eye chakra and is directly connected with the butterfly-shaped glands here, in the seat of your imagination, which manages your capacity for visualization.
Oh my dear, okay.
Okay? It's not an eye chakra. It is literally here. It's the butterfly-shaped glands here. It's the hypothalamus glands. And the chakra associated with informs your capacity to receive information astrally. You know? To visualize, to have lucid dreams, to receive information, or to be inspired visually. Inner sight. But we use our imaginations, this creative center, in order to see those things. I see you. Not I see you. Shouldn't like I see you. Not I see you. Okay. So now where do we put that one?
Right.
Third eye, fourth eye, fifth eye. There. Before crown. So we have 7 primary chakras of the head. Have fun. You have chakras in your eyes. Actual physical eyes, right? Those are 2 secondary chakras of the head. Now, how is your brain? I'm more interested, I can keep talking. I'm more interested in what is your brain doing while I'm talking? What is your brain doing with this information as it's coming at you? What is it doing with the marbles? Has it started complaining yet?
My brain was comparing my marbles to yours because I had 7 and you had 6. But I put my brain as a marble. And then I was going,
I also have my brain as a marble. How's everybody's brains doing? Come, am I boring it yet?
Well, mine is curious.
Yours is curious.
Very curious.
Charmaine's would be curious. Okay. Yours, Maris?
Also wondering where the hell it's going.
What the hell is that? What's going? Where is she going with this? Is anybody's brain preempting things? Skipping ahead?
No.
Tarika? Is anybody's brain thinking, I came to meditation for this?
Yeah, no, that's true. My
Yeah.
brain's skipping ahead a bit, what it means, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is questioned because my concept of 22 chakras is different to what is coming here. So my brain is
Okay.
curious, but also like really what's...
Yeah, but that's that whole other
Yeah.
system, right? We can use the marbles. You can use the marbles for almost anything.
Yeah.
Yeah? You can take every marble here as a cell in your body. And you can heal it. Literally, this marble, because of its shape, can represent almost anything that is living. It can even be literally a quark in your body. It can be a cancer cell. It can be anything you want it to be. That is the power of the humble marble for your brain. And because the brain, now here's an important thing, because the brain engages with the power of the word, the consensus of language, if your brain and you can agree, this represents that. It knows that because by consensus of language, it has agreed to millions of things on the planet already being that, regardless of whether it understands it or not. So, that is a doorknob. How do you know it's a doorknob? Yeah. And you were taught that because?
Because everybody else called it that.
Yeah. We named it. Then we thought we owned it. So it's a doorknob. It's a window. It's a floor. This is how language has been used to create this consensus and understanding. And we want to use exactly that, which is your brain's way of being familiar with new information and new ways of dealing with things. So you need a marble that says sinuses, respiratory system, lungs. Yeah. But the minute you name something, especially if it's attached to a familiar symbolic object, your brain will find it familiar. It will fight less. Had I given you 20 different crystals, instead of just marbles, your brain would be going, but what's that one for? What is that? Oh no, these are crystals. That's going to have its own effect. Nothing so neutral as a marble. And yet, your marbles have color, which is its own color infusion, right? Its own energy. Your marbles, because they are glass, are able, mostly glass, nobody's got plastic marbles, okay? They receive and they will hold the energy being transmitted through the palms of your hands. You will feel them holding it. In fact, as they get hotter and hotter and hotter, you can then place those marbles on any part of your body in order to transmit that kinetic heat energy that you've infused the marbles with into any other part of your body. Would you like us all to bring our marbles around and hold it up to your lungs for you? If you put these marbles under your feet, please don't do this on my wooden floor, and you rolled them back and forth, you'd give yourself a reflexology massage, right? Marbles are endlessly useful things, but they are most useful when it comes to creating a visual object for anything that your brain wants to know and doesn't accept easily, needs to work with and doesn't accept easily. So if, for example, you decided any one of these marbles was going to be an emotion, line them up in front of you and you label each of them an emotion and you heal on them, and what will your brain be doing? It'll be going, this is cool, this is interesting, I can do this. It will not be going into resistance. But when you sit quietly and you go inside and you get silent, brain is gone AWOL. I don't care which emotion you are working with. I'm busy over there. You tell me when you're done and I'll come back and take charge. And you come back and what do you know? Same emotion flared up immediately. You might even, for the fun of it, decide to put your marble onto the floor and knows it from one end to the other. Now, why would you do that? Other than for the fun of it.
Because you have to concentrate.
Yeah.
To guide it, yeah.
Because your brain is so accustomed to thinking it is more important than everything else because it has opposing thumbs. See those things? That has given it control of the physical world. Because it has opposing thumbs, it thinks it's the most important thing on the planet. Take away its thumbs, and if it has to follow its nose, it's getting lost. That marble is moving out of control so fast. Yeah. So it's going to teach your brain a little bit of humility. Something as simple as putting a marble between your big toe and your little toe and walking around it with it all day will inform you in no uncertain terms that you are incapable of controlling anything. What happens? Brain goes, this is painful, why am I doing this? This is stupid, I can't wear my shoes, complain. Pain. And then it goes, Ish, can't do this. I can't do this. And the more it learns what it can't do, the more your authentic power, your soul power, takes over. Whenever your brain surrenders something to either soul, your authentic power comes to the fore. And that word surrender alone is enough to give every brain in the room the heebie-jeebies. Okay. Now here's an interesting little thing about marbles. If you knock them together like that, they don't break. Have you noticed? Knock your big ones together, let's see. Yeah. Remember we used to have a game when we were little called knick-knack knockers or something. Yeah? And it was such a thing to knock them, and they would make this horrible noise. But they would make, because it was horrible for parents. But it was lovely for us. Yeah? Now what is your brain saying while you're doing that?
Creating energy.
You're creating energy, but what is your brain doing?
When someone gets stop it.
Yeah. Automatically your brain is going to treat you like a 5-year-old. Is it? Yeah. Like you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Isn't that so?
Mine's really excited.
Yeah.
Well, you just like stop bringing orgasmic to everything.
Oh, yeah, she's actually so
Okay, see, her 5-year-old is enjoying doing something she's not supposed to do. But your brain is responding as a child right now. No? Oh, come on, lighten up. You're too sick to lighten up. I think we should all take Lou and put him on the table and do a laying of hands, healing.
Yeah.
See, you get all excited already. Yeah.
His brain woke up.
His brain woke up. Now, if you keep doing it after your brain has told you to stop, or after it's gotten over the novelty of doing something that it's not supposed to be doing, then what happens?
Just switches,
Yeah. Now it just gets tedious.
Yeah.
Now you're just making noise. Yeah. Now what is it? Now what is it saying? What is your brain saying?
It's not even notice the noise. Like, can hear the noise, but doesn't care.
What are you? Sort of autistic.
I like
Mine is comparing. I can see this one and the 5 ones. You know, you do that, it goes.
You see how your brain has gone AWOL?
This, it goes that.
Yeah. What is your brain doing, Shaman?
It's having fun.
Yes.
But if I had to be, I wanted silence, like a clicking pen that irritates me, so it can be irritating. That is fun.
Got one that went over there.
I want the brain experience on all of this. Here we go. Okay.
So like a little vibration that sets up
Yeah.
and they connect.
And you feel the heat coming off them as you do this. I mean, this is, you're creating, or rather, you're transforming or transmuting energy. And it's your energy that's coming through in the marbles. All of this is energy transmission. But your brain hasn't tuned into that. Your brain just thinks you're playing with marbles. And it's having fun. Yeah. It's not going to resist any of this. It'll tell you to stop doing that. It might get irritated at the noise, depending on how old you are, inside out. But you know, by and large, this brain has not yet gone AWOL.
Yeah.
It's still here.
Don't the Greeks have these things called worry bees?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Chinese.
Yeah.
It's another similar thing to a rosary. Yeah.
No, the worry beads are, unlike the tasbih, we use that for mantras, right? What you're talking about are those balls where you learn to synchronize the sound. Yeah, we have a set here that you can practice with. This is a whole other marble game. Yeah. The most interesting thing for me is that everybody is still in the room. Everybody is still in the room. Nobody has gone AWOL anywhere. So now that your brain is fully present in the palm of your hand, let's heal your brain.
Great.
Took a while for all of you to get fully present, right? Yeah, no, I know. I sit here and I say, let's all get silent. I talk and I talk and I talk. And then I say, let's all get silent. And everybody's brain is still AWOL. It's not registering half the things I said, which is why everybody was so afraid we wouldn't have a recorded version. Yeah, I know.